Hello, and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. I want to talk about a question that a lot of you have left in my comments. Like when I said VeChain ICX ADA, like how much will they be at the dip of the next bear market? A lot of you are like, would bear markets actually happen? What about all that utility? Well, yes, they will happen. One, we're not really that close to utility actually supporting price. We're probably still several years away, especially since VeChain did that whole divide by 100 on Vitho burn. We're quite far away. We'd have to reach like a good proportion of like Visa's utility to actually push price up due to actual utility right now. So that's really not in the equation in the next year or two. Second of all, even with utility, we experience bear markets, and you can actually just look at the stock market for that. Remember, a lot of these big companies, they will actually go down, 40, 50% or more in a bad market. And these companies are actively making products. These companies are actually making products and making revenue. And your ownership of their stock actually represents your ownership of the company, which represents an ownership of the products they actually make. So even with companies that actually do have a lot of utility, whose prices is based on their earnings and PE ratio and stuff like that, there is still a bear market, and crypto will be actually much the same. You could say, well, there's a lot of burn going on with companies with like Walmart and everything. Will a bear market really affect it? Yeah, it will, because like people buy less stuff in the bear market, so you will actually burn less Vitho. If you're based on like luxury goods, for instance, if your crypto is based on tracking luxury goods, for instance, people buy a lot less luxury goods in a recession. Therefore, people aren't going to be burning much more. So from a utility perspective, like recessions and times of like happiness and times of recessions will actually affect your utility, and that in a way, in a utility driven market, will actually affect the price of your token. This will happen regardless of how high your regardless of like how much used your token is, because people don't buy the same amount of stuff through every economic cycle or every point in the economic cycle. People generally buy more when times are good, and people generally buy less when times are bad. If people are saving things, they're generally not really gonna when companies are saving things, they're not going to process as many transactions. When companies are freely spending and hiring, they're probably going to process more transactions. Same with people. Like, all markets are going to be speculative. You're never going to take fully the speculative element out of the market. And I suspect at least 30, 40, 50% of the crypto market will always be speculative. Now, 50% might be based on utility, sure, but like the stock market, about half of it's all speculative. And it's really people's projection of what that company or what that coin is actually going to be worth. And obviously, in a bad market, they're going to project it to be worth less, unless you're a company for like ramen noodles, and then when everything's going to hell, like you're basically going up because people are eating more ramen noodles instead of fancier food. So like if you have a crypto that is that's pegged to like ramen noodles for some reason, then you're looking for a recession. But for everything else, you're not really looking for a recession. And that's why like recessions will actually affect crypto just like they affect stocks. Now they're probably going to be less severe for crypto than stocks, but it will actually affect it because cryptos are much becoming an investment asset, just like the head of the Chinese bank actually said. They're an alternative investing asset. If they're an alternative investing asset, that means they're going to be affected by economic cycles, whether you like it or not. And that means like much of their, at least like maybe half their price will be actually based on speculation. Now, there's going to be a higher bottom level because of utility. But from the top level to the bottom level, you could dip 50 to 60%, as we've actually seen in the stock market for many stocks, depending on how your industry reacts to a bear market. So yes, even in a utility-driven environment, there will be ups and downs, and there will be large retraces. Now, in a fully utility-driven environment, you might not have an 80% retrace. You might only have a 50%, 60% retrace. But that's still a lot of money lost if you actually bought at the top of the bull market, and then it dips down in the bear market. So you always got to be careful of that. There's never going to be like this crypto thing that basically just remains steady through all markets and never dips and keeps on going up. Unless obviously Tether becomes the Fed, which they could actually become, and keeps printing money or keeps printing Tether to support Bitcoin. So that is the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.